Hello everyone, welcome back to the Simply Street English podcast. My name is Jake and welcome back if you have been here before. And if you're new, you're also welcome. Here is a podcast to help you to learn English just with comprehensible input is what they call it. It's such a buzzword, everyone knows it now, I guess. But just English that you can hopefully understand because I'll speak slowly and clearly about hopefully fun and interesting topics. So just before I start, I'll just want to remind you that all the transcripts are on Patreon. Simply Street English Podcast, on Patreon. So if you want to see them and read through, then feel free to check them out. On that note, thank you very much to Lucia and Anna for joining the Patreon. I really appreciate it. It's good to have you here. And let's start with the podcast now. So understanding spoken English, sort of step by step, but more like 8 tips really. I enjoy talking about this subject because it's something that is really important for you to learn English. It's important for me to understand how to learn a language. It's not English for me, obviously, but for other languages. So I really enjoy thinking about and then putting into practice tips like this. So these are things that I do myself to learn languages. So let's have a look then. Number 1, start with loads of input, and that's just, I'll have to say it again and again, and it comes up all the time. Listen to loads of stuff, okay? It's a bit, it's just got to be done. You must try and listen every day. You can do it while you're doing a number of tasks as well. So like if you're running or walking or working, depending on what you do, just choose something and listen to it all the time. Well, as much as you can. Even if you don't understand it to begin with, like I would say listen to something that's made for native speakers a little bit, just to get used to hearing the language. But also to begin with, I would say listen to something which is more to your level, so that it's a bit slower, and they perhaps explain to you what the words mean. Because if you're just listening to native stuff all the time, it's going to be harder to pick it up. I definitely find this with my language learning. So starting with lower level stuff is better for you. But still having a bit of native kind of level, it kind of humbles me. That's what I think. If you're humble, it means you are not, it's the opposite of proud, right? So I feel humbled when I listen to native level Spanish sometimes, like a radio station, and they speak so fast. So I think I'm good at it, but I'm not amazing if I listen to that. But it's fine just to let the sounds just kind of wash over you, I guess. Just go into your head, get used to the rhythm, the flow, and the sound of the language in general. All right, number 2, if you've got time, okay, watch some video, watch some kind of film or something with subtitles. Subtitles are great if they're in the target language. Don't have it in, so obviously have it in English, don't have it in your language, because that ain't going to help, right? You just want to be able to understand what they're saying and have it in the target language. It just is better for you. Otherwise, you are just getting the meaning from your own native language, and that's not really what you're trying to do. So listen to, perhaps even if you're going to, if you're going to sit and study for half an hour, sit and watch without subtitles to begin with, see what you understand. Then try with subtitles and pick up words that you didn't get. Add some of those words in context to a book or whatever you have to write things down. And then use transcripts if there's things like that as well. Reading as well as listening is really good for you to improve your language. And remember, the more you listen to stuff, the more it will just sink in, and you don't have to sit there and learn vocabulary. Vocabulary just will sink in doing this. So reading is really good as well as listening. Okay, so if you get time as well, do some reading also. This brings us on to tip number 3. So focus on chunks, or a chunk, right? It can be a part. That's another word for part. You can have a chunk of food, like as in, let's say you take a bite out of your, it's a massive piece of fish or something. You've taken a chunk out of it. But it also means part, right? So listen to parts. For example, it's all about context, really. I guess if we're looking at how native speakers talk, they speak in chunks or parts, right? So I'm going to becomes sometimes I'm going to study maths in the future. I'm gonna study maths in the future. It's like, I guess they're contractions as well, not just chunks or whatever you call them. What do you want to do would be something like, what do you want to do? What do you? What do you? What do you? It's annoying when native speakers speak fast like that. But if you can get used to that kind of thing, then it will help you to understand what native speakers are saying and sound more native yourself. Maybe I should do an episode on how to sound more native. That sounds fun. Maybe I'll do that at some point. Tip number 4. Use slowdown tools. Right, I'm not sure how I feel about this one, because with apps like YouTube, Audible, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, you can often slow things down to half speed or 0.75 speed. I think this can help, right? But it will also kind of distort the sound. To distort means, so I'm trying to I'm not trying to make this up. I'm trying to explain what distort is without looking it up. To distort is when something is made a little bit unclear. So you could be listening to a normal audio, and if you slow it down, it might start to sound a little bit grainy, a little bit difficult to hear, so it's distorted. I think you could use slowdown tools. Actually, what I'm going to recommend is just find a podcast or whatever, a video that's already in slow English, if that's what you need. Slow and concise and clear is probably the easiest, right? So you can slow things down or just listen to something slow in general. That's my recommendation. Top tip number 4, that was. Number 5. And there are 8, by the way. Heads up. Okay. Number 5. Don't worry about understanding everything 100%. Because, right, even as a native speaker of English, I will personally sometimes miss a word here or there, or zone out and miss a whole chunk of stuff. But it's about understanding the message as much as you can. It's not about being a perfectionist. It's more about progress, let's say. So if you can understand the main gist of things, you're already doing really well. The main gist, right? If you've never heard of the word gist, let me try and explain. It's a bit like a word for idea. If you could understand the main gist of it, you can understand the main idea of it, you can understand the main meaning of it. That's another way of saying gist. You can say, have you got the gist of it yet? Have you understood it yet? Man, there's a few ways you can use gist. But there you go. That's what gist means. Are you getting the gist of English? Just keep going. Every day, even a little. I would say at least, look, if you can do an hour a day, it will add up as long as you're consistent. I try and aim for 2 hours of listening a day, and that's possible because I just listen, right? I don't do a lot of reading and watching. I think that would help if I could. But personally, I have a lot of time to listen, so that's what I'm doing. Tip number 6, try and mix your passive and active listening, right? So I do a lot of passive listening when I'm in the car, in the van, driving around. Active listening, I would say, is something when you are reproducing what you've heard, okay? So I might pause it and then try and make a sentence out of what I've just heard, or repeat what I've heard. Not quite repeat, because that'll be the next tip, but kind of make up a sentence my own. That's kind of actively partaking in it. I wouldn't perhaps say it's active listening. I'd say it's more just like you're mixing being passive with being active. That's probably more of an accurate way to describe this tip. So do a bit of both. Listen. But actually, at some point, you're going to need to recall all these words and use them in context. So the more you practice trying to recall and use what you've learned, the better, because that's ultimately what you want to be doing. It builds familiarity and it builds skill in using the words, using the language. Obviously, if you're not sometimes I don't feel like it, and that's okay. Like, you can either do it anyway, or just do something which is easier. So just passive listening is easier than trying to, if I'm really tired, I will just listen, and that's okay. But other times when I'm in a really good mood, lots of energy, I'll try and pause it and just talk and talk and talk until I get bored of the sound of my own voice and realise that I'm not very good at the language I'm trying to speak, and I'll listen again. Right, tip number 7. Repeat, shadow, and repeat. So listen and repeat exactly what you're hearing exactly what you're hearing as you are hearing it. Do it for like 10 minutes at a time or something, right? So you could listen to a single sentence or a podcast and then pause it and repeat it out loud. Or you can do what I do. It's like I listen to a podcast and I'll kind of just talk as I'm hearing it. So I'll hear everything he's saying and just repeat back. And a lot of the time I'll understand and keep going with it. Do it for like 5 or 10 minutes. It gets a bit tiring. But all the time I'm trying to copy the tone, the stress, the rhythm. And you're also using the language. So your brain will start to understand when to use the words and what they sound like and how they feel. It might feel a bit awkward at first, but it works for me. And it feels like I'm using the language, which is really fun. Right, tip number 8. Stick with content that's kind of just above your level. I don't know if I agree with this. Maybe just on your level and slightly more, slightly higher. But it's fine to use absolute native input as well. So I'm going to say use mostly content that's just above your level. But it's okay to use above and below. It's fine, as long as you're doing something. So stuff that's mostly understandable, though, is perfect, with a few words or phrases that are new to you. Something, for example, if it's too easy, though, you won't grow as much. And if it's too hard, you just will be frustrated and find it really hard to kind of progress. So you'll know whether it's too challenging or not challenging enough. So I think that's something you probably understood before, but there it is to you. So remember, look, it takes time to learn a language and you have to be using it as much as you can, but just keep going with it, really. Little bit of patience, you'll improve. Just keep being consistent with it. Yeah, keep going. You're doing better than you think you are, probably. So that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for listening, and I hope this has been helpful. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks for listening. Bye.